Unions in Nigeria have recently requested for an annual review of the minimum wage amidst the growing economic hardship in the country. Several states in the West African nation are struggling to implement the 70,000 naira minimum wage approved by the government 6 months ago. Analysts, however, observe that the government should initiate measures to reduce inflation and stimulate economic growth. Here's more details of that in this report.
It's been 6 months since the government approved the 70,000 naira minimum wage, equivalent to $45 a month, but several states are struggling with its implementation. While some states have begun paying the approved wage, others have delayed, citing financial constraints.
This is as a result of disparity in the income, revenue accruing to each of the stakeholders like states, local governments. They are not equally endowed. 2 is the increase in the operational cost, the cost of doing business. They also have to pay higher electricity bill, higher rent, higher fuel consumption for the higher cost for fuel and general operational cost.
Despite delays in implementation, labor unions are now advocating for an annual review of the minimum wage. The existing law mandates a review every 3 years, but union leaders argue that soaring inflation has eroded the value of the current minimum wage, making it inadequate to meet workers' basic needs.
It would be a good idea for government to review the minimum wage every yearly, because almost every day things are increasing in markets.
We've not even seen the 70,000 naira, talk less of fighting for addiction. So we should see the one first before we know what to do next.
Analysts say the government should also put measures in place to reduce inflation and stimulate economic growth.
If we are able to improve on food production, reduce inflation, reduce our penchant for importation, if we are able to rein in insecurity, because our food production increase is dependent on how we can stabilize the rural communities. These are things that I think ultimately will help us.
The federal government says it expects state and private sector employers that are yet to implement the current minimum wage to do so by January 2025. It has also projected inflation to drop to 27% by the end of 2025 through increased food production and local refining of fuel, which began late last year. Experts say while the impact of these efforts will take months, it will address concerns raised by workers in the long run.